Now, the U.S. weren't creating too many opportunities from this, but this is actually how you get Panama running. This is how you can make them disorganized. You can get set pieces and take advantage on those or on the second phases. And if the runs in behind are well-timed, you will create chances. Another damning loss for the United States to Panama. I mean, this one was bad. And for Mauricio Pochettino, this was a real setback in the progress he seemed to be making with this team. So let's go over some of the key factors from this game. And most of it really revolves around what the U.S. could have and should have done a lot more of. All right, so for Pochettino, this was a major test to see how far this team has progressed, because you're playing against the exact same Panama structure that they were last year in Copa America. The thing is that normally the United States end up in this system. They normally start with a back four, and Anthony Robinson as the left back comes into midfield, inverts, and that allows other players to then move and go into different positions. It creates more fluidity, and here the United States were really in a rigid 3-2-4-1, and I think that's one of the main reasons why the whole thing looked so stale. There are other reasons I'll get into momentarily, but here's the thing about Panama. It is obviously a 5-4-1. It is not an easy formation to break down, but here's the thing. It is not a low block. They are not super deep. They are leaving a lot of space in behind, especially in the wide areas, but the United States did not utilize this enough. All right, so one of the main things Pochettino wants his team to do is he wants the left and right-sided 10s to go from inside to out when the wide guys receive the ball. So as Musa gets this, you can see McKennie starting to make a run forward. Now, the big detail here is that Musa did not open his body forward enough. He did not look up the line. Had he done that, he probably would have been able to clip the ball through to McKennie. And if you were actually threatening to play that ball, these two defenders would drop off, and so therefore the ball into Sargent making the check-in run would be on. But here, everything's closed off, so the U.S. has to recycle. One of the main things about Panama is that they did not press the U.S.'s back three, like at all, which means that there's a lot of time and space to be able to hit balls over the top. Just make more runs off the back of them because there's so much room. You can see McKennie here asking for the ball. The problem is, I think he's offside. He shouldn't be if he's there, but it is the right idea. Now here, I think Weah should also be making a run deep, but it's not just Weston McKennie. Christian Pulisic could be making a run in behind. Sargent could as well, but really no one does, and so the ball goes from Ream out to Weah, and once again, Christian Pulisic making the same run on the left side that McKennie made on the right, trying to go in behind. Weah well closed down. He's got to go back. The ball goes into Adams, and once again, Panama can regain their shape. That staleness on the ball for the U.S. was a problem. The other major one, especially in the first half, was the pressing and counter-pressing. Panama were able to find their two best players, who are Carrasquilla and Godoy, at the base of their midfield way too often. So Carrasquilla gets this ball here. Adams does a good job to go and pressure him, but right after Carrasquilla gets it off his feet, Adams has to run back because no one's actually marking anyone. They're all just sort of standing in spaces. And Panama had too much ease in just connecting balls to feet. So as Adams runs away, Carrasquilla open again. Now watch this. As he gets this ball, all three of these guys, Tessman, McKennie, and Adams, they are just backing away. And so Carrasquilla now has the time to look up. And there's a problem in the U.S. back line. Richards, for some reason, 3-4 yards behind Ream and Scally. And so that allows the center forward for Panama to make the run. Carrasquilla can't believe his luck that no one's actually pressuring him. So he has to reset his feet and go ahead and hit this ball over the top. Fortunately for the U.S., it was a little bit long, but that's a huge warning from Panama. Then another stretch of possession where the same thing. Players not being connected in the way they press. As this ball comes out to the wide area, Musa does exactly the right thing. He goes in and presses and doesn't just stop here. He goes and engages with the opponent. He actually gets on him, but look at Adams. He is right next to Godoy, okay? You're marking him. Now Panama wouldn't be able to get out, but Adams just stares at the ball and keeps jogging, and I really don't know why he does this, but it opens up the ball into Godoy. He's able to turn. Tessman, 1-on-2 here, can't stop the ball getting to Carrasquilla, who immediately plays it forward. I mean, this from Panama was way too simple. Again, players just running by. No one's actually engaging, and so then they just drop off, and Panama can go out the other side. So the pressing was a major issue in the first half because Panama were able to create stretches of possession that were just long enough to break up the rhythm for the United States. They didn't actually get very many opportunities at all, Panama. But the U.S. were not able to launch enough attacks to create meaningful chances on a consistent basis. But here are their two big chances of the first half. So this right here, it's after a set piece. You can actually see Ream running back. That's why. Weah's over here on the right-hand side. So is Pulisic. So the players aren't really where they're set out to be. But as Weah gets this ball, you can see Testament in an advanced position as opposed to deep. And that makes it so that he can run off the back line, receive it. He checked his shoulder. No one followed him. He's able to turn. And now there's a 3-on-2 in this wide area. Testament does the right thing by going out to Pulisic. And Weston McKennie immediately makes that run, underlapping behind the defender. Pulisic plays him. And the movement from Josh Sargent here is actually really good. He starts out wide to the back post, cuts in, the ball gets played back to him, and I think he's unfortunate here. I mean, there's two defenders and the goalkeeper blocking him, hits the post, so he's unfortunate. Big first chance for the U.S. Then Weston McKennie would get his opportunity. And so here's on the backside of the Panama back line. The ball comes into Weah, and McKennie puts his arm up and says, I want it back here. Panama are so condensed that the switch is on, and it was all the time. Here, it's just a cross into the box. I think Weah puts in a pretty good ball. I'm not certain about the way McKennie attacks this. I think he's defended pretty well. Either way, it's a decent half chance. The header maybe goes off his shoulder, I'm not sure. And the thing is, those big balls over the top and in behind, the big switches, they were the best bet, I think, for the United States to make inroads. Tim Ream's got the ball, he steps forward, and he's going to hit a long ball. You can see Sargent already making the run, but this one actually is quite an exceptional split out to Weston McKennie on the far side. So you can do this and get in behind, and that is how you stretch Panama's lines, because take a look at them right here. They are very nice and condensed. They are in a 4-5-1 right here. But look, their entire team, this is all their outfield players on one side of the field. Weah is able to get just a little bit of space, and he sees Musa on the far side. The key is Weston McKennie is also making a run forward, so the left back has to pay attention to him. Weah able to play the big ball out wide to Musa, and he gets in. Now, the U.S. weren't creating too many opportunities from this, but this is actually how you get Panama running. This is how you can make them disorganized. You can get set pieces and take advantage on those or on the second phases, and if the runs in behind are well-timed, you will create chances. So the United States did score through Josh Sargent. It was disallowed because of this offside from Weah, but he's right to make this run. He just mistimes it. Ream, right when he strikes it, Weah about 2-3 yards offside. The ball got in behind. Weah would cross it, get it into Sargent, who would score. And again, this is just in the 23rd minute, so the U.S. were looking all right at this point. But the quality of the balls would start to get a little bit worse. Here's an example. Chris Richards. I don't think this should be a driven ball, first of all, and it's too straight. The other problem is, though I think the run from Musa is good, the ball enters the penalty area, which is when you really bail out the other team, because their goalkeeper can just pick it up, reset the team, slow everything down, waste time, all that. So those were the things the United States needed to do more of. And if they did and up the pressure and intensity and pace in the second half a little bit, you'd think they for sure can score a goal. But then it also had to do with Pochettino making some adjustments. Tanner Tessman and Tyler Adams together at the base of midfield was overkill. Pochettino also maybe seemed to change Pulisic's position a little bit, sending him more to the right side and McKennie to the left, but this didn't have any kind of impact, and Pulisic had a dud of a game as it was. But it was Weah who really helped pick the team up in the second half. The other thing is that they did continue to attack these wide areas. It just wasn't quite enough, but this is a great ball from Ream, a good run from Weah. He brings it down, gets it behind the Panamanian defense. They are all running back. These are the kinds of situations you want. Now, one thing I started to see in the second half that I didn't in the first was Joe Scally getting forward more. And this was actually necessary because the U.S. did not need to have a back three the whole time. Scally going forward did add a certain element, and so he would actually overlap Weah quite frequently in the second half. As you can see, the ball goes out here to Weah, and Scally is making a run that most of the time in the first half, he just didn't do. This creates a 2v1. Now Panama have to sort of reshuffle and think which way's Weah gonna go. Here he cuts inside, gets a pretty decent shot off, it's saved, but more of that. This time, ball goes out to Musa on the far side. Panama are completely condensed. You can see Pulisic making that underlapping run down the line. It's cut off because 4 Panama players are over there, but now you can go the other way, and Musa does a nice job here outside of the foot pass to Weah, and you can see Scally making that overlapping run again. This time, he's rewarded for it, and it just causes chaos for Panama, because actually Joe Scally does a great job of cutting back here and looking for a ball inside the box. Godoy, good tackle to keep it from getting to McKennie. And then the other variation, which is you don't overlap. You just let your winger get the ball and take on their player 1v1. And here, in very Dembele and Vinny Jr. style, Weah just takes a touch with his left, down the line with his right, uses his pace and power to get beyond the defender and try to cross the ball in. These these were good things. And this is the 58th minute. So more getting the ball wide, more overlaps, and see if you can create those numerical advantages. And so then the substitutions would come. So Sargent comes off for Ajimang and McGlynn comes on for Tessman. Now, when I saw that, I thought to myself, okay, McGlynn is probably going to step up a little bit. He's going to become one of the 10s. Maybe he's going to go the central, or Pulisic will be the central, but he is going to be advanced. Unfortunately, that is not what happened, and I think it was one of the biggest mistakes after the substitutions. As this ball comes into Richards and then out wide to Musa, Adams is dropping back and giving the support ball. So where should McGlynn go? I think he should step up, because once Adams gets his ball, that's the ball right there in between the two Panamanian players. Receive it on the split, turn, and go forward. Instead, look at what McGlynn does. He just comes back, and this is a completely redundant position for him. This can just go to Tim Ream. It doesn't need to get to you. And that's exactly what it does. And so now McGlynn is just not in a dangerous position. There was a lot wrong. They're going to play against Canada today. Let's see how that one goes. But yeah, this was a major setback for Pochettino. So we'll see how the future. So we'll see what holds. So his comments about the United States being a #1 nation in 5 to 10 years looked pretty bad. The crowd did not help either, but that'll be. So thanks for stopping by, checking out this tactical breakdown. I'm Sebastian North. This is Campfire Football. Take it easy.